Yo, what is up, doggies? It's your boy Beanie Conloon, and we've got an absolute heater of a video today. In today's video, I'm gonna be making the ultimate Virgin Core album tier list. Now, I bet you're wondering, yo, Beanie, why are you making a Virgin Core album tier list? What are you, a fucking virgin? And to that, I just like to say, shut up, man. It's none of your business. But yeah, and for those of you who are wondering what a Virgin Core album is, it's basically just any alternative album that will be sure to scare away the females. You know, like your Radioheads, your Yeezers, your Tools, shit like that. And I've created the ultimate Virgin album tier list where every album is sure to scare away any pussy in the nearby radius. And not only will I be ranking these albums on how much pussy they will be sure to scare away, but I'm also going to be ranking them on just simply how hard they slap. And then I'm going to take both these scores, add them up, divide it by 2, and that will be the ultimate Virgin ranking for that album. And also, before we get into this, let me just say, don't get fucking butthurt if you see an album on here that you like that I call a Virgin album. Saying some dumb shit like, yo, I love Radiohead and I have a wife and 3 kids and we have sex every night. I swear every time I see a meme about like Virgin music, I'll go into the comments and there's always at least one dude getting salt like, yo dude, I love Weezer and I love pussy. Like, doggies, I'm just joking around. I'm sure you can listen to these artists and still get pussy, but it's a funny meme to say these artists scare away all the pussy. So without any further ado, let's just get into this tier list. And by the way, this is gonna be a longer video, so you know, just sit back, relax, you know, maybe grab a snack. But shit, dog, we're about to get right into this tier list, starting with the first Virgin album, Twin Fantasy by Carseed Headrest. This song was originally dropped on Bandcamp, which is the ultimate Virgin music website, so that definitely gives it some bonus points on the Virgin scale. And also, the lead singer for this band, Will Toledo, sings in a very whiny, annoying voice like you see in all the best alternative Virgin rock bands. And while I am a fan of whiny Virgin voices singing to me, I can see how this would scare away the females, so this definitely adds some points on the Virgin scale. But as far as lyrics go on this album, there's not really any standout Virgin bars. Like, yeah, all the lyrics in this album are pretty depressing and sad and probably isn't gonna help you get pussy, but nothing really stood out to me that's really gonna scare away the pussy too much. Now granted, I have only listened to this album once, so I may have missed some fucking Virgin lines, and if I did, please let me know in the comment. But out of 10 on the Virgin scale for this album, I'm only feeling a 6. And for how hard the album slaps, this album, it's just alright in my opinion. There's definitely some bangers on here like Sober to Death and Bodies, and also I really like We Love You Please Stop Smoking, even if it is just a slow, chill song. But a lot of the songs on here I found kind of mid or boring. A lot of the songs I thought were just way too long. And I mean, I like long songs when they're done right, but these songs just seem to really drag on in my opinion. I'm feeling a 6.5 on the slap scale, so that's a 6.5 on the slap scale, a 6 on the Virgin scale. Added together, the ultimate Virgin score for this album is a 6.25, which sits it right into D tier. Alright, next album is Tigermilk by Bella and Sebastian. I really just can't even put into words the sound of Bella and Sebastian because I never studied no like fucking music theory or anything like that. Like, it's just one of the most gentle, calm, soothing albums I've ever listened to. Like, I don't really know how to explain this album besides just saying it sounds beautiful. Settle down, write a song, I'll sing along. Like, come on, man, you know that's a vibe. On the slap scale, this album's undoubtedly a 10. Like, this whole album just sounds like some shit that was crafted out of, like, Lord of the Ring times New Zealand. Just like a village of people just decided to craft up the greatest album of all time. I don't know if that description actually makes that much sense for this album, but it sounds like some Lord of the Ring shit to me. And as for the Virgin scale, it's kind of hard for me to comprehend how this album could scare away any pussy, because to me, it just sounds so banging all the way through. But yeah, the whole album is alternative and just like different sounding, which gives it a little bit of points on scaring away the females. And on top of that, there's some standout Virgin bars in this album that I'd like to point out. In the song Expectations, one of my personal favorites, he hits you with the "and the head said that you were always a queer one from the start. For careers, you said you wanted to be remembered for your art. Your obsessions get you known throughout the school for being strange." These are some fantastic, relatable, sad Virgin bars in my opinion. I mean, the dude's literally talking about being known throughout his school for being a weirdo because he's interested in other things like art. And this man literally rhymes art with being known as a queer one from the start. Like, come on, dude. Being known as a queer one from the start, those are some fucking Virgin bars if I've ever heard them. On top of these being some Virgin bars, bars, I also just really like these bars. They're just really powerful in my opinion. I mean, I think most people can relate to this, being interested into something that most people find weird or just absurd or think you're just wasting your time, but you know at the end of the day, this is your passion and you gotta do it. Doesn't matter if doggies want to call you a queer one. Another great Virgin bar in this album is in the song She's Losing It. And that's when he simply just says, the girls use me as a punching bag. And let me just say, I felt that one, dog. The girls do be using me as a punching bag, no doubt. But yeah, clearly this is a Virgin line saying girls just walk all over him, some classic loser Virgin stuff. And you know, with those two Virgin bars in mind on top of this whole album, just giving off a bit of that Virgin vibe the whole time, I'm feeling a light 7 on the Virgin scale. And after you add up and divide the slap scale with the Virgin scale, that leaves this album with an 8.5 on the Ultimate Virgin album tier list, which sits this album directly in B tier. Alright, next up we got a big old Virgin album, and that album is In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. Alright, so apparently this album's supposed to be about like Anne Frank or something, and let me just say off my one listen, I did not catch that. But the fact that this album is technically about Anne Frank or inspired off of Anne Frank or something like that definitely adds to the Virgin scale. Like making a whole entire like grunge rock album about Anne Frank, like that just sounds like the opposite direction of what you want to do if you're trying to get pussy. On top of that, the lead singer of this band, along with a lot of the lead singers on this tier list, just sounds like an absolute Virgin loser. Catching signals that sound in the dark. Like, come on, man. That man shrieking is a sure guarantee there will be no pussy anywhere near you. And on top of that, this whole album is just too artsy and alternative for even my liking, which makes for an album that to most people, it just sounds like shit, but then the Virgins that love this album, they have reason to argue why it's actually the greatest album of all time. Just listen how artsy it is. It's about Anne Frank. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is this album's pretentious and artsy, and that's sure to scare away some of the females. I'm feeling a rough 7 on the Virgin scale. As far as the slap scale goes, I gotta be honest, this is not one of my favorite albums. Most of the songs on here just sounds like they were made in like the 1500s, and they're just not worth listening to in my opinion. But I do gotta give credit where credit is due. In the Aeroplane Over the Sea is undoubtedly an all-time great slap. And Holland 1945 is also pretty fucking hard. But honestly, I'm just not a very big Neutral Milk Hotel fan, and this album, it just didn't really do it for me. So on the slap scale, I'm feeling a light 6. So the ultimate Virgin score for this album is a 6.5, which puts this album right into D tier. Alright, next album we're going to take a look at is This It by The Strokes. Now, for the Virgin scale on this album, I don't really see this album as much of a Virgin album at all. But when I asked around the internet for a bunch of Virgin albums to help me make this tier list, there was an ungodly amount of replies of people saying The Strokes Is This It. And I guess because the music's, it's a bit alternative, so, that might scare away some of the females. I could see that a little bit. But honestly, I think The Strokes do a great job of still having that unique alternative sound, but also at the same time, their music is really easy to get into, and it's not like too alternative and just wild. And as far as standout, Virgin bars or Virgin messaging on this album, there's really not that much. I mean, off the title track of this album, he does hit you with the "Can't you see I'm trying? I don't even like it. I just lied to get to your apartment. Now I'm staying there just for a while." Basically saying he doesn't really give a fuck about this girl. He was just lying, acting like a different kind of guy just to get to her apartment to go fuck her, which I could see how it might scare away some of the females, but at the end of the day, this line is about getting some pussy, and that's not very Virgin-like in my opinion. I'm feeling a 3 on the Virgin scale. But as for the slap scale on this album, it's gonna do a lot better. Like, oh my god, do I fucking love this album. Literally every song on this album slaps without fail. Like, it's banging all the way through. Like, I can't really describe the sound that they did create with this album, but I can definitely say they created some kind of sound, and they did a great job. I'm working so I won't have to try so hard. Like, come on, man, how am I supposed to describe something that banging? Like, it just slaps. There's no other words for it. Is This It is clearly getting a 10 on the slap scale. So the ultimate Virgin score for Is This It is a 6.5, which sits it in D tier. Alright, next Virgin album is People Who Eat People Are the Luckiest People in the World by AJJ. Right off the bat on the Virgin scale, I'd like to say this dude has one of the whiniest voices I've ever seen in the alternative Virgin music genre. I'm afraid to leave the house, I'm as timid as a mouse. And on top of having a whiny voice, the things that this guy likes to sing about is literally always just being really fucking depressed. And being a depressed fucking loser like the man of AJJ, It is not a way to get pussy. Also, there's a lot of standout virgin bars in this album, starting with off the song Brave as a Noun. He says, I'm afraid to leave the house, I'm as timid as a mouse, I'm afraid if I go out, I'll outwear my welcome. Some pretty sad, pathetic, relatable stuff in my opinion. Another standout virgin bar is at the very beginning of the song Bad Bad Things. It starts off with, do you remember me? I killed your whole family, and now I'm going to kill you too. And I mean, just imagine you try to play this song in front of some females, and it just starts off with this whiny-ass virgin dude singing about killing your whole family and gonna kill you too. Now, I'm no pussy expert, but I don't think this is gonna get the females wet. Alright, final virgin bar, but let me just say, there's certainly a lot more virgin bars in this album. I would argue every single line is another virgin bar. But this is one of the most cringe virgin bars in my opinion, and that is where it says, but there is a bad man in everyone, no matter who you are. There is a rapist and a Nazi living in our tiny hearts. Child pornographers and cannibals and politicians too. Now granted, this doesn't really even sound like that much of a virgin bar. He's just going on about, how everyone has a little bit of evil in them and he's naming the worst possible things he could think of. The issue is, when you're playing this song, most people aren't going to be really listening to every word, knowing what this dude's talking about. And what's going to happen is, they're probably just going to pick up on the words rapist and Nazi and child pornographer. And well, let me just say, those aren't very common attributes that girls will be looking for in guys. But yeah, for the virgin scale for this album, I'm feeling a strong 9. Like, you just gotta listen to this album. The whole album, this guy's extremely whiny, extremely depressed.
I am not a courageous man. I don't have any big lasting plans.
Like, this shit's gonna scare away the females so hard, it's gonna leave them with nightmares, man. For ranking this song on the slap scale, it's a little bit harder because there's some songs on here that I really love, some of my personal favorite songs, but then there's a lot of songs on here that I just don't care for at all. Songs like Brave as a Noun, People 2, The Reckoning, and Personal Space Invader are some of my all-time favorite songs. And being a bit of a sad, depressed loser myself, I can definitely relate to a lot of the shit that this dude AJJ going through in this album, and it just hits really hard. I'm feeling a 7 on this slap scale, so once you add the slap scale and virgin scale together, that leaves this album with a solid 8, puts it in B tier. Alright, next up, one of the ultimate virgin albums, and that is Pinkerton by Weezer. Pinkerton is the perfect album if you love punk rock music and you hate pussy. This album quite literally starts off with a song called Tired of Sex. Rivers Cuomo, the head singer of Weezer, this whole album is just going full incel mode, constantly fantasizing about females he'll just never get with. In the song El Scorcho, also known as the Nice Guys' national anthem, Rivers Cuomo goes off saying, I'm a lot like you, so please, hello, I'm here, I'm waiting. I think I'd be good for you, and you'd be good for me. This is quite literally the chorus of the song, and then the whole entire song is just about him fantasizing about this half-Japanese girl.
Goddamn you half-Japanese girls.
Apparently, they do this to him every time. But this man Rivers just goes on this entire song talking about how much he loves this girl and how much he deserves to be with her, but at no moments in this song does it ever talk with actually being with this girl or any reason that this girl would want to be with Rivers. Literally, this whole song is not only Rivers talking about why he wants this girl to be his girlfriend, but also why he deserves this girl to be his girlfriend, which is just truly the most incel shit I've ever heard. And this isn't just like a one-off incel song. Literally, the next song, Pink Triangle, Rivers is basically singing about the exact same thing, fantasizing about another girl that he'll never get, but this time, this girl ends up being a lesbian. And in his mind, that's the only reason why they're not dating and married. Like, the chorus to this song is literally, I'm dumb, she's a lesbian, I thought I had found the one, we were as good as married in my mind, but married in my mind is no good. Like, this dude Rivers is literally talking about this random girl who probably doesn't even know who he exists, who isn't even attracted to the same gender as him, yet somehow Rivers says in his mind they're as good as married. Some serious incel shit. Like, it would be one thing if Rivers was just complaining about getting no pussy throughout this whole album, but my man Rivers Cuomo just took it one step further and also throughout this whole album just talks about why he deserves to get pussy, and that girls, would like him if only they gave him a chance. Without a doubt, this is getting a 10 on the virgin scale, but now it's time to look at the slap scale. And let me just say, I love me some Pinkerton. Like, Pinkerton, it just has that fantastic, 1990s alternative rock feel to it. And 1990s alt-rock music is probably some of my favorite alt-rock music. Like, there's just so many classic bands coming out of that time, like Nirvana, Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, a lot of bangers. And I just love the underground, alt feel of Pinkerton. And while this album has that underground, like dark, depressing vibe, it still has that Weezer vibe to it where it's just like some musical ecstasy. Like, I don't really know how else to explain the Weezer sound. But yeah, I really love this album, and it's kind of hard to put into words, you know, what I really like about it because, again, didn't study music theory. But this album definitely has a lot of variety, and all the songs are banging. Some of my favorite songs are Across the Sea, Butterfly, The Good Life, Pink Triangle, El Scorcho. A lot of bangers off Pinkerton. Yeah, dog, for the slap scale for Pinkerton, I'm also feeling a 10. Like, Pinkerton, it is without a doubt the ultimate Virgin album. So that leaves Pinkerton with a combined Virgin score of 10, which gives it S tier for being the ultimate Virgin album. Alright, next Virgin album, another big dog, and that's Radiohead's Kid A. Now let me just say right off the bat, I do love me some Radiohead, but I do not love me some Kid A. And it's funny because, you know, the Radiohead fanatics, the Radiohead nerds, or just virgins, as I like to call them, they really like to argue that this is without a doubt Radiohead's best album, and probably without a doubt the best album of all time. They think this album, like, changed the outcome of music entirely, when in actuality, this whole album is just like a bunch of random fucking robot noises. And these sad virgins just like to argue that Kid A is actually, without a doubt, the greatest thing of all time, and if you don't like it, you just don't understand it, and you should probably go listen to The Bends by Radiohead. Maybe that's more up your alley. And you know, people just thinking that this album is just so great, being so pretentious about it, while in actuality, it just sounds like a bunch of random fucking noises, is a big reason why this is such a Virgin album. Like, I don't think you can derive any enjoyment from this album. Like, it's simply made just to scare away the females. Like, just the beats and the instrumentals for every song, it's either just the slowest, most boring build-up of all time, or just a combination of a bunch of random noises that just sounds like absolute shit. And as far as lyrics go on this album, like, what the fuck is Thom Yorke even saying? Like, literally in the first song off this album, the only words Thom Yorke says are Kid A, everything, in its right place, yesterday I woke up sucking on a lemon, there are two colors in my head, what is that you tried to say? Like, that is literally everything he says on that song. He just repeats it like 8 times over. Like, what the fuck does that mean, Thom Yorke? What are you saying? And that's basically how every single song is off this album, and I can completely understand why this would scare away the pussy. Like, if I was a girl and some dude started playing some Radiohead Kid A to me, I would definitely, first thought in my head would be, oh, this kid is not all the way there. So yeah, I'm feeling a strong 9 on the Virgin scale, and now for the slap scale. Yeah, as you guys probably could have guessed, I do not really like Kid A, and if you think that means that I just don't understand it, or I'm not giving it a fair chance, fair enough. The way I see it is, you shouldn't have to listen to an album like 500 times before it finally, you know, clicks for you and you finally start liking it. If you don't like it when you first listen to it, then you don't like it. It's that simple. But I do gotta give credit where credit is due. Idiotech is absolutely bopping, and it gets me grooving every time it turns on. So on the slap scale, I'm feeling a light 4 for this album, basically just because of Idiotech. So that gives this a combined Virgin score of 7, which puts it into C tier. Alright, this next album I'm gonna take a look at is probably a little bit more unknown, and it's not technically an album, it's a compilation, and that is Heinseight Is 2020, my friend, by the Ergs. Ooh, do I love me some Ergs, man. The Ergs are the ultimate pop-punk Virgin band, no doubt. If you're a sad loser virgin and like pop punk like Green Day and Blink-182 and shit like that, holy fuck do you need to get hip to the Ergs. Like, I cannot stress enough how much I love the Ergs, dude. They make fucking bangers, or they did make bangers. These songs aren't just bangers, they're certified virgin bangers. There's so many songs off this album that just do a great job of just absolutely bopping, and then also the whole song is just about getting no pussy. And bopping music and complaining and being sad about being a loser virgin are some of my 2 favorite things. When put together, it makes for some of the greatest music of all time. Let me just read you a couple examples of some classic Virgin bars the Ergs will be sure to hit you with. The chorus to the song introducing Morissette is, I wish I could get you to call me, I wish you were standing beside me, but I will never be with you. And then later on in this song, he repeats the phrase 5 times over, life is long when you're lonely. And I just like to say that life is long when you're lonely, while it is just like a simple thing, that line hits so hard in my opinion, because I mean, it's very true. Life is pretty fucking long when you're lonely. Also in the song, Jazz is like the new Coke. He goes off saying, everyone's talking, everyone's recalling the reasons I'm so lame. Well, I can name a few. Pretty solid virgin bar, no doubt, but then also the chorus to that same exact song is, he makes your heart skip, and I make an exit, he makes a real good boyfriend, and I make the long drive home. Now that's some relatable fucking virgin bars if you ask me. Mostly all the ergs really sing about on this compilation is just being a fucking loser, not getting pussy, wishing that they did get pussy. Definitely some virgin stuff. I'm feeling a strong 8 on the virgin scale for the ergs. And now for the slap scale, this compilation that I'm reviewing is technically 33 songs long, but I only really like 6 of the songs off of it. But judging off the songs that I do like, I really like them. Some of my all-time favorite songs. Songs like Introducing Morissette, Hey Jealousy, Jazz is the New Coke, Books About Miles Davis, Every Romance Language, 1,000 Letters are all absolute bangers I would heavily recommend if you're into pop punk at all. So the slap scale score, I am also feeling an 8. It would be a bit higher, but there's just too many songs on here that I literally just never listen to and don't care for at all. But yeah, that makes the final virgin ranking score for Heinseight Is 2020, my friend, a solid 8, which puts it in B tier. Alright, next virgin album I'd like to take a look at is Earl Sweatshirt's Some Rap Songs. The memes about Earl Sweatshirt scaring away the females all really started with Some Rap Songs, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, every instrumental off this album is some very dark, repetitive soul samples that the average female is not going to get into.
It is surely time that the speech of the black culture of America be recognized.
And on top of that, throughout this whole album, my man Earl Sweatshirt is just so wildly depressed. Earl be hitting you with those absolutely banging depressed bars like face looking like I stumbled out of bed, $100 chip, I pissed problems out the bottle empty, mama said she used to see my father me, said I was not offended. Like, damn do those bars fucking hit when I hear that shit. Like, as a sad loser virgin, I can totally identify with it. Understandably though, you start playing that song in front of the females, it's not gonna go over well. On the virgin scale, I'm gonna have to give this album a light 7. It's sure to scare away some of the females being so depressing and just sounding so different, but also as far as virgin music goes, there's a lot more embarrassing virgin jams you could play in front of the females. But for the slap scale on some rap songs, it's very clearly getting a 10. This is one of my all-time favorite albums. Literally for the last 4 years on my Apple Music Rewind, my #1 most played song all 4 years was Azucar, otherwise known as the greatest song produced by man. And then also there's just so many other absolutely banging songs off this album that I just absolutely love, like The Mint, December 24th, Nowhere to Go, Veins, Riot. Like, come on, man, this album is a certified 10 on the slap scale. So some rap songs combined virgin score is an 8.5, which sits it directly in B tier. Next virgin album I'd like to take a look at is MM Foods by MF Doom. MF Doom just reminds me of that classic nerdy black kid who just plays too much Smash Brothers and loves comic books. And I mean, that's basically what MF Doom is. He is just a nerdy black guy that likes to rap like he's a supervillain. All of MF Doom's samples are just like classic stuff you would expect a nerd to sample. Like, he's just always sampling stuff from like superhero shows, old cartoons, the Muppets. Like, this dude just samples all the wildest shit. And on top of MF Doom's beats all being so like nerdy for a lack of a better word, this man MF Doom also raps like a fucking nerd.
Spill over like the rolling hills of Dover or the Gulf War disaster, preferred after.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I think MF Doom's rapping is very fucking hard, but it undoubtedly sounds like a nerd, and honestly, that's the reason I think it goes so hard. And the stuff MF Doom raps about, it isn't your classic, you know, like rap topics like money, weed, and pussy. Throughout this album, each song is about a different kind of food, but like, it's not just like talking about the food. He gives the food some like personification and he relates it to the real world somehow in an interesting way. But yeah, MF Doom's songs being so complex and a bit harder to get into definitely adds to the virgin scale. But yeah, I'm feeling a strong 8 on the virgin scale, mostly because MF Doom just undoubtedly sounds like such a nerd, and I could only imagine if a female heard MF Doom, she would just start laughing. And my rating for the slap scale, this is personally my favorite MF Doom album. Like, each song, the instrumental is just so wild and wacky. Like how I was talking about how he samples all these cool, unique, like nerdy stuff. It makes for such unique sounding music that you just can't find anywhere else. Again, I feel like words don't really do justice to how great this album is, so I'm just gonna name off a couple of my favorite songs. Songs like Hoe Cakes, Pot Holders, One Beer, Deep Fried Friends, Guinness, Rap Snitch Knishes, Vomit Spit, all absolute bangers. I'm feeling a 9 on the slap scale. So that leaves MM Foods with a combined virgin score of 8.5, which sits it directly in B tier. Alright, next Virgin album is Yeezus by Kanye West. This is definitely Kanye's most experimental album in my opinion. This whole album's just filled with all these loud, crazy, distorting noises, mixed with moments of just some soothing, angelic jams.
On sight. On sight.
I personally love this combination, but sadly this combination is also known to scare the females. This is definitely by far Kanye's biggest Virgin album. Like, this whole album, Kanye West is just going absolutely mad in both his lyrics and the instrumentals. Songs like On Sight, I Am a God, and I'm In It are sure to scare away any female nearby. But at the end of the day, it is still Kanye West, so there's still some songs on here that the females could definitely get down with. Songs like Hold My Liquor, Blood on the Leaves, and definitely Bound 2 are all jams that most people can get down with. So for the Virgin scale for Yeezus, I'm only feeling a 6. And for the slap scale on this one, I'm feeling a strong 9. This is definitely one of Kanye's most interesting and well-produced albums. There is no other Kanye albums like it. Kanye was just absolutely wilding out when he made this album, and you can just tell by the instrumentals and the shit that he's saying.
I know that we the new slave. I'm about to wild the fuck out. I'm going Bobby Boucher.
Like, this man Kanye mentally was just on another level when he was making Yeezus. Mentally, he may have been in like a psychotic episode, but either way, it made for some jamming songs. So the final Virgin score for Yeezus is a 7.5, which puts this right into C tier. Alright, final Virgin album is Lateralus by Tool. Tool, in my opinion, is like the final boss battle to Virgin music. Like, Tool isn't just some whiny Virgin loser singing to you like most albums off this tier list. Tool is still a whiny Virgin loser, but Tool's like a whiny Virgin loser demon. Like, you have to be on another level of virginity to enjoy Tool. The Virgin levels on this album are just far too powerful for even me. I'll keep it 100 with y'all, I didn't even finish this album. I got like halfway through this album, but I couldn't finish it. I was afraid if I did, I would be cursed to live the rest of my days as a sad loser virgin. 100% this is getting a 10 on the Virgin scale. But as for the slap scale, I mean, I didn't even finish the album, so I don't enjoy this album too much. There's just way too much going on in all these songs, and most of it just doesn't sound good to me. I'll be honest, there's moments in some songs that I do really enjoy. But that enjoyment usually only lasts like 15 seconds, and then the song switches it up to some other weird shit. And most of these songs are like 7 minutes long, and it was just really boring to me. I'm feeling a 5 on the slap scale. That means the final Virgin score is a 7.5, which puts this album right into C tier. Well shit, there you have it, doggies, the ultimate Virgin core album tier list. And while this definitely is the ultimate Virgin core album tier list, there's a lot of Virgin albums that I didn't add to this tier list simply because this video is already way too long and I did not want to spend any more time on it. But there are a lot of great albums I didn't get to talk about in this video, so if you did enjoy this video, please let me know by dropping a like, dropping some comments, hitting that subscribe button, all that good stuff. And as always, peace out, doggies.